Hello YouTube, Guildmouse here, and today we're going to talk about how to not be a jackass. Guildmouse, why are we talking about specifically how to not be a jackass? Well, recently I had the glorious experience of watching a couple of videos, I won't name anybody specific, where I have seen some exemplary player specific issues where it's not game involved, it's strictly player, and it's all etiquette, and maybe I just didn't say it loud enough in some of my other videos, so we're just gonna talk about player etiquette just a little bit. Because one of my biggest pet peeves as a player is when this person over here has a 3-course meal, they've taken up all of the table, and I can't get my game on because they're crunching chips too loud. So, that was just a really big example of a pet peeve. For me, as a player, if I'm sharing a table with 6 other people, plus your DM, God, I hope the table's big, and please put this away. Put your cell phone away. Put it in a fish bowl, hopefully not with water in it. Leave it in your jacket pocket or your bag. Make sure it's on silent if you have spawn. Put it on vibrate and in your pocket. We'll all know when you get a message because you'll go, woo! We'll know. Put it in your boobs if you've got to. I wouldn't advise that though because ladies, you will damage your phone by putting it in your cleavage. There's moisture there. Moisture. Okay, so here's the deal. When I play games, I like to have a set couple of rules. Sometimes when I bother to run in the universe, I have a set couple of rules. Electronic devices away. If you have food, oof, whoa, blah, hold on, blah. If you have electronic devices, if you have a 3-course meal, if you decide that you need 3 feet out of a 4-foot table, we need to have words consulting your consideration of other people. On average, you should really only take up the same amount of space that is your notebook and maybe your character sheet unless you're a stacker. I am not a stacker. I need my sheet on one side, I need my notes on the other, and then I can go to town writing everything down. That's about how much space I take up. That's 12 inches of space. If you need more than 12 inches of space, make arrangements to sit on the end of the table and pray that your table is not full of people. I know that, okay, Guildmouse, why is this such a pet peeve? Because if I'm sitting at a table with excuse me again. If I'm sitting at a table with a bunch of people, I don't want to be like this the whole time. And I also don't want to be like, here, let me reach to Timbuktu and grab that. Thanks, bro. It's just not convenient. It's not helpful when you feel like you're crowded. I mean, one person taking up over half of the table is really inconsiderate. 3-course meals. Food that leaves grease stains. Things that sweat. Specifically bottles or cans or things that you can't put a top on. Or things that do have a top on them, like you go to the Speedway and you get a Mega Gulp and it's got that flimsy plastic. No, don't do it. Get a water bottle with a cap. Invest in your future of drinking water. Or something with a screw cap. I cannot tell you how many times I have watched, and then everybody's character sheets are gone. You've ruined over $400 of books, and nobody's happy with you anymore. Get a drink that goes in a bottle that has a cap that can be secured. Don't bring a 3-course meal to an event. Nobody wants to deal with your filet mignon with a side of potatoes and then the soup and salad preference and everything else like that. That's just not cool. If you bring food Try to bring food that you can share. If you're not going to bring food that you can share, that's fine. I understand that not everybody's a grocery store. 10 points to Slytherin if you get that. It's just, don't bring food that would be offensive to other people. Like, for example, if you like to eat garlic cloves, pickled garlic cloves, out of a jar, don't do it. It's such a potent, fragrant item. Or even one of those, like, mama pickle things you can get at the gas. Don't do it. I'm not telling you to go to the land of bland. There are plenty of foods that are not fragrantly viable to kill somebody. Doritos are usually not offensive, but the Cheeto dust, the dust from your Dorito, the grease from the chip itself, if you touch other people's stuff, they're not going to be happy with you. Don't do the thing. Bring moist wipes if you have to. Go wash your hands between, hey, I want to touch the thing. Licking your fingers and then using a paper towel would also be appropriate, but some people are weird about that. I'm not too keen on it. Don't touch other people's dice. No, seriously, I know this one sounds really weird. Don't touch other people's dice. Don't mess with other people's dice. It's this weird superstition that is amongst a majority of gamers that I have ever played with. Don't touch my dice unless you ask first, and even then I'm gonna be a little bit weird about it, because your luck changes my dice, and that's just how it is. It's just how it is! Don't do it! I have a hoard of dice for a reason. I'll give you the reject dice. They don't roll well for me, maybe they'll roll well for you, but don't touch the dice I'm actively using, because, oh my lord, Batman! Just don't! If you have Spawn, and you can get a babysitter, leave your Spawn with the babysitter. This one is a little bit tricky because, well, why should I leave my kid behind? Because sometimes there are people who don't like kids being involved with their gaming session because it's really hard to focus on getting into the goblin's house when your baby's going, and you hear this big horrible crash and everything in the background is now broken. Because that's what kids do. I'm looking forward to that. I'm really looking forward to that, guys. Can you believe it? Now, sure, some DMs may be able to roll with that, and I would certainly hope that you would talk to your DM first, because being that communication about such things is really important. I mean, you don't show up at Jim Bob's house with a 4-year-old and plan that 4-year-old's gonna be quiet the whole time. You're a fool. Good luck. I've babysitted enough kids to know that that's not gonna work out well. But if Jim Bob has like 4 other kids of his own and his significant other isn't playing the game and she says okay, well, then maybe it's okay. Maybe it's okay. Maybe it's okay. Don't let your kid touch other people's dice. Grab sheets of paper, tear up memorabilia, you know. Mind your kid. Side conversations. Side conversations have a tendency to overwhelm other players. Now, this might not be so in smaller groups of like 3 or 4 plus the DM, but in groups of 7 or 8 or 10, if your DM is that boisterous, willing to take on that many people, holla. Side conversations. Side conversations need to be kept at a minimum, and the reason that I need you to understand this is because if you want to have a conversation to your friend Bree about how hot Benedict Cumberbatch is, whoop whoop, points to Gryffindor. For being Gryffindor, or for getting the name right. How hot Benedict Cumberbatch is, well, that's gotta be distracting for the person who likes Martin Freeman across the table, because you're completely omitting their, possibly half of their OTP, and if you don't know what an OTP is, Google it. I love you guys and your sparkly, happy faces, but I'm on a tangent. That can get distracting. I don't want to hear about how the Orioles are doing, or whether or not the Bengals are surviving. I don't want to hear about U2's new comeback. I do want to hear about new videos from Fontraden and the Rouge DM. But that's besides the point. That's a side conversation. Take your side conversations off to the side. And by the side, I mean to another room. Since you don't have a digital because you don't have a digital device and you've decided to be kind, you've taken your digital device and you've put it away, you might pass paper scraps back and forth. That's distracting for the DM, because if you've been in any games that I've been in, that's how I communicate with my fellow players in-game when I don't want other people to hear us talking. It's kind of like you two rogues using rogue can't to get some stuff by, or two rangers using ranger signal bobs to have a conversation while Grok just looks on like, why are they doing the Macarena? And then someone goes, what is the Macarena? And then Grok goes, I must show you the dance of my people. That's the difference between in-game and out-of-game. Benedict Cumberbatch is hot, but what about Martin Freeman? And then you have people going, what is the Macarena? Why are you metagaming? If your food crunches, squeaks, pops, emits thrilling, dying screams as you put it into your mouth and chew, you shouldn't probably eat it at the game. If you smack like a cow when you chew, or a Wookiee, or an Ewok if you're old enough to have seen the Ewok movie and the glorious travesty that it is, don't bring food or chew gum during your event. Actually, I would advise that if you chew with your mouth open, that you don't chew gum at a gaming event, because someone's going to reach across the table and smack you. That's a con rule. That's general etiquette. Just pipe down. If you're the kind of person that needs to produce a lot of saliva, bring a drink that has a screw cap on it. Something that is a massive pet peeve of mine is talking over other players. Now, I can understand if your character, notice the character, is an excitable person. Like Tom is having a great conversation with the barkeep, and all of a sudden Susie Q goes, hey, I need this right now. No, you don't understand. I need it right now. That's okay, it's in the game. The bartender's probably going to look at you like you need to pipe down and take a seat. I get to you. But when your fellow player is having a conversation with your DM at the table about how something works, it might be they're getting advice for something. It is rude as heck to reach over and go, girl, just read page 254. I don't actually know what's on page 254. Look it up. Tell me about it. I don't know. Any of your books, I'd love to know. First sentence. The point is, don't interrupt people because they lose train of thought or they feel like you're encroaching on their space. And speaking of encroaching space, don't touch people unless they're okay with being touched. I am not one of those people that is usually okay with being touched unless I've known you for a while. Like, if I just met you and you reach over and you give me a hug and kiss me on the top of the head, I'm going to think that you are cursed and you need to be removed from the planet, but I won't say anything. I'll just shut down for the night. Guildmouse is a very complicated creature. I like to give hugs when I'm ready to give hugs, and day one is not a good day to get the hugs or give the hugs. Don't touch people, don't touch their stuff unless you've known them more than one day. Or they've said, no, it's okay, I don't even care, I love the feels of other people feeling me. Do not move people's stuff around. Don't take their notebooks, don't take their character sheets. Don't take their drinks, don't swap their digital devices that they may or may not have with them, don't mess with their Apple Watch. Don't play musical chairs, don't give them a wet willy. Don't smack them with the book. If you're prone to flailing in the game, then give people a warning or learn how to flail backwards or up. I've had to learn how to do that. You gotta flail this way or that. This way and pray nobody's walking behind you. Like, do the check and then be like, whoa! Be mindful of yourself, your placement, and those around you. Because if you smack your DM when you're flailing out of excitement, you might fumble something and you don't want to die. I'm just saying that sometimes out-of-game actions can affect how your DM works in-game, and that's a bad DM trait, but we're not talking about that today. We're talking about how you are not gonna be a jackass. If you've ever stayed the night at anybody's house, if you've ever been to anybody else's house that is not yours, even if it's your grandma's, just think of the general etiquette there. You don't have to say yes ma'am, no ma'am, yes or no sir, unless you're into that. I'm just saying that maybe a courtesy flush and utilizing the potpourri may be a good idea if you destroy their bathroom. But I was just talking about at the table etiquette. You know. So that's my video. Player etiquette. That was a pretty general outline. If you guys want to hear more of me tangent about this, I would be happy to in more of a vlog format, because I have a lot of pet peeves, as you can tell. And sometimes I can get a little carried away, but in all honesty, just don't do horrible things to people. If you're generally uncomfortable with it, they're probably uncomfortable with it too. That's it. So I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on the video, what I've said. And I would really love to see your spiky happy faces. Your spiky, sparkly happy faces. Say that 3 times fast. I'm not even going to try. Drop me a comment. Hit the subscribe button if you want to. We could always use more shiny, happy faces in our collection. And just as a heads up, I'm actually going to start posting on my YouTube channel at some point soon. I've been busy. Staring at Excel sheets all day. But that's nothing for you guys to worry about. So, I'll catch you later on the flip side. Have fun, and bye-bye. I gotta hit the button. I'm having a moment. Hey, did anybody else watch the bloopers at the end of Guildmaster Dan's neutral evil video? Because I totally think you should, because it's hilarious. We actually had to cut it down a lot. I don't have a lot of bloopers like that because I kind of wing it. So I record you these little snippets at the end. Okay, double bye!